In this video, I am going to explain you about bus encoding. This bus encoding technique is used to decrease the number of transitions. Means when number of transitions decreases, the switching activity will be decreased. Then the power dissipation is also decreases. See here, the intrinsic capacitance of a system level buses are usually several order of magnitude larger than that of the internal node of a circuit. Means we have in system level buses we have intrinsic capacitance. This intrinsic capacitance is greater than the intrinsic node capacitance of a circuit. At that time the power dissipation will be generated when you transfer data from over a input and output pins. Okay, that is the concept here. Then the intrinsic capacitance of buses is nothing but a transmission media in a circuit. In those buses there is an intrinsic capacitance. Thus intrinsic capacitance is greater than the internal capacitance of a circuit. We already see that the internal capacitance for every transistor at the output level there is internal capacitance. That internal capacitance is smaller than the internal capacitance of a bus. At that time the power dissipation will be generated when you transmit a data over a input output pins. Okay, in order to reduce this power dissipation we will do the encoding. We'll see that on the see here. It is possible to save a significant amount of power to reducing the number of transitions. Means when you decrease these transitions, means transition from 0 to 1 or 1 to 0, when you decrease those transitions, at that time the switching activity will be decreases. In order to decrease these transitions, we will do one approach, that is encoding. Okay, in order to decrease these transitions, we will do one approach, that is encoding. When this intrinsic capacitance in a system bus will be decreases when you decrease the number of transitions. When you decrease this transition, the switching activity will be decreases. In order to decrease these transitions, we will going for a technique that is called a encoding, and we will get the original signal. When you decode the output of the encoding, then we will get the original signal. This is the operation of encoding. Why we do encoding means in order to decrease the number of transitions. Number of transitions decreases, the switching activity will be decreases. See here what is the encoding means. Encoding can be used either to remove the undesired correlation. We will see what is correlation in next tabular column. In order to remove this undesired correlation, we will do encoding, and also when the encryption is doing at the time only, at the time also the encoding will be done, and introduced to the control correlation at the time also encoding will be done. Remember this point. Encoding is the second factor in order to reduce the switching activity. The first factor is high correlation between the bits. When you increase the correlation of the bits, the maximum transition is decreases, and means the maximum switching activity will be decreases. Before doing the encoding, first we will maintain the high correlation between the bits, then we will do the encoding. Okay, when you do the high correlation between the bits, at that time the maximum transition will be decreases and switching activity will also decreases. Then after that we will do the encoding. See here, this is the sender, this is the sending one, and this is the receiving one. In that we have encoding and decoding. In between we have encoding and decoding. See here, the sender bit will go to the encoder, and then we get the encoding one. In this when this output will reach the less transitions and decrease the switching activity, then this output, the encoded output, will give to this decoder, then decoder will get back the original signal. This is the encoding technique. In this encoding technique we have broadly divided into two types, that is non-redundant and redundant. When n equal to m, when this n equal to m means the input of the encoder equal to the output of the, it is not equal in terms of elements, it is equal in terms of bits. If here we are using n equal to 8 bits, then the output of encoder is also the 8 bits. At that time n equal to m. Okay, when we use here the 8 bits as an input, then we will get the 8 bits as an output. At that time the n equal to m. That type of coding is called non-redundant coding. When n is not equal to m, That type of coding is called return encoding. N is not equal to m means m greater than n, means the output bits is greater than input bits. At that time, the encoding process is known as redundant encoding. In redundant encoding, we are using a memory element in a encoder. Means in order to increase the output, we need a memory element in the encoder. We doesn't use memory element in the decoder in redundant encoding. Okay, remember that one. Non-redundant means n equal to m, means input bits equal to output bits. N equal to m. In redundant encoding, n is not equal to m, means m greater than n. In this redundant encoding, we are using memory element in order to increase the out. And in decoder, we doesn't use any memory element. That is the different types of encoding techniques. We will see one by one. See here, the first one is gray coding. Gray coding belongs to the non-redundant encoding, means n equal to m. See here, in gray coding the input is binary code, then the output is gray code. See here we have 4 bits. Here we have 4 bits, 4 zeros, means 4 bits. The output is also 4 bits, means n equal to m. This is a non-redundant encoding scheme. The gray coding is a non-redundant encoding scheme. By using this gray coding, generally in this is the 4-bit one. In 4-bit one, generally in binary coding, we have 30 transitions. When you use gray coding, the 30 transitions will be decreased to 16 transitions. What is meant by transition means, see here the first one 0, there is no transition. Here we have one transition, means 0 to 1 changes. Then here we have 2 transitions, 0 to 1 changes and 1 to 0 changes. Here we have 1 transition, 0 to 1 changes. Here we have 2 transitions. Like totally, for a 4-bit totally we have 30 transitions in binary coding. In order to encode and get the gray code, when in encoder we will input as a binary code and we will get the gray code. The gray code will give the 16 transitions only for a 4-bit. That is the difference. When you decrease the 30 transitions to 16 transitions, almost 15% of switching activity will be decreases. Then the power dissipation is also decreases. That's why we are using gray coding here. Okay, do you understand what I am telling? The switching activity will be decreased to 50%. Means in binary coding we have 30 transitions. By using gray coding we have 16 transitions. Means almost it is half. Means the switching activity will be reduced to half. Then see here, this is the encoding of grayscale. This is the encoder. The encoder input is binary code. Then you will get gray code. And again, in order to get the original signal back, the gray code is given to the decoder and you will get again binary code. In encoder, we are using, in order to change the binary to grayscale, we are using NOR gates. See here, we are using NOR gates. How many NOR gates used means, suppose we have n bit data as an input, then NOR gates is n minus 1. See here, this is the 4-bit data. The NOR gates we are used is 4 minus 1. That is, we are using 3 XOR gates. 3 XOR gates. The XOR gates is n minus 1. Means if we have 4-bit, the XOR gates we are used is n minus 1. That is 3 XOR gates. See here, 3 XOR gates. Then how to convert the binary code into gray code means, see this one. What is the truth table for a XOR gate means, when 0 0 is occurred, the output is 0. When 1 1 is occurred, the output is 0. When 1 0 and 0 1 is occurred, at that time only the output is 1. Do you know the XOR truth table? That is, we are getting 0 1 1 0. 0 1 1 0. See here, when you have all zeros, at that time the gray code will be 0. There is no transition here. See here, 0 0 will get 0, 0 0 will get 0, 0 0 will get 0. That's why we are getting 0. See here 1 0, 1 0. When you give input as 1 0 to the XOR gate, we will get 1. That's why here we will get 1. Then 0 0 will get 0. Then 0 0 will get 0. And then we will get all zeros. Then see here, 0 1 is a input to the XOR gate, then we will get 1. That's why we will get 1 here. Then 1 0 is a input, then we will get 1. Then that's why we will get here. Then 0 0 will get 0. Then 0 0 will get 0. That's why we convert the binary code into gray code by using the XOR gates. XOR gates, how many XOR gates we require for converting the binary code into gray code means n minus 1 XOR gate. N is a number of bits. Then we have one drawback when using the gray code. You will see that one. When using a, this is the this tabular column is belongs to the benchmark program. This tabular column is belongs to the benchmark program. The benchmark is nothing but, see here, these are the benchmarks: fast queue, QSOT, reducer, circuit, semi-group, NAND, Boyer, browser, chart. These are the different benchmarks. Here we are using. This benchmarks is used to get the performance of a particular circuit. These are the different benchmarks. The benchmarks is used to get the performance of a different circuitries. See here, these are the benchmarks. Let us consider one example. If you write an exam, the examiner will give the marks. In that case, if you run the circuit data, at that time the benchmarks will give the performance. Okay, these are the performance. See here, in buses we are using data address. At that time, when you are using the gray code, there is no performance degradation. See here, in binary code you will get 0.85, it is 0.91. Then this is nothing but a performance. When that is 1.32, then we have 1.25. They almost, the performance by using binary code and gray code is equal. But in gray code we have advantage, that is the number of transitions will be decreases. That is the advantage. Here the performance will be equal. Means there is no drawback when you use the data address. See here, when you use the instruction address, at that time, see here, the binary code 2.46, it will reduce to 1.03. 2.64, it will reduce to 1.33. Means the performance will be degraded almost to 50% when using the instruction address as a input output to the as a transmission data. At that time, the gray code has a disadvantage, that is the performance will be degraded when you use the instruction address. When you use the data address, at that time the performance will be similar to that of the binary code and gray code. This is an advantage when you use the data address. When you use the instruction address, here there is an disadvantage. Okay, I will tell that what is what is correlation. Here in encoding, when you increase the high correlation between two elements, at that time the transition will be decreased and switching activity will be decreased. Before doing the encoding, we will see what is correlation. See here, when the gray code is 000, see here the correlation of gray code, then the gray code is 4 zeros, means here the correlation is very high. See here correlation, when the correlation is somewhat low. When you have high transitions, at that time the correlation will be very low. When you have low transitions, at that time the correlation will be very high. Here there is no transition. If you get a 0000, means the correlation is very high. Here we have one transition, means the correlation will be decreases. In see here we have two. Here also we have one transition, means the correlation will be. See here, in binary coding, at the same point, the binary coding you have two transitions. In gray coding you have only one transition, means compared to this, the gray code has a high correlation. Means high correlation means the transitions is also decreases. Then when the transitions decrease, the switching activity will also decreases. Okay, that is the correlation. These about gray code. When using the gray code, we will decrease the transitions for 50%, means the switching activity will be decreases also for 50%. Then we have one drawback when using the gray code, that is when you use the instruction address, the performance will be degraded. Then we will see the another encoding technique, that is one-hot coding. This is a redundant coding. We will see previously gray coding is a non-redundant one. This is a redundant coding. In this we are using input to the encoder, that is n. The output of the encoder we are getting, that is 2 power n minus 1. Okay, means the m is greater than n. Here we are getting 2 power n minus 1. Here the input is we are getting is n. Here we are getting 2 power n minus 1. The main logic in one-hot coding is we will consider the ith element. We will consider the ith element that equal to 1. Means in entire coding we have only one logic 1. In entire coding we have only one logic 1. That is the condition for a one-hot coding. If I give 8 bits to the input, then you will get the 256 bits. In 256 bits we have only one logic 1. Remaining all bits are zeros. That is the encoding of one-hot coding. Means we have only one logic one, remaining all bits are 0 means we have only two transitions, that is the transition 0 to 1 and 1 to 0. Okay, we have only two transitions when using the one hard coding. This is the advantage. We have only two transitions. When you use 256 bit or when you increase the bits to 1000, at that time also we have only one. Okay, we have only one single logic one. Remaining all bits are 0. We have only one single logic one. We are using 256 bits as output. At that time we have only one logic one. Remaining 255 bits is zeros. In this case, one hot method, we have only two transitions, that is 0 to 1 and 1 to 0. In order to get the two transitions in one hot coding, the transitions will be decreased to 75% and switching activity also decreased to 75%. By using the one hot coding, we will reduce the maximum power dissipation. Okay, that is the advantage of one hot coding. Okay, similarly here we are using the encoder and decoder in one hot coding. This one hot coding is related to the redundant encoding. Why it is related to the redundant encoding means here we are giving n bits, then we are getting the 2 power n minus 1 means m greater than n. When m greater than n is satisfying, at that time we will clearly say that this is a redundant coding. In redundant coding, here we are using ith bit equal to 1. Ith bit equal to 1 means we are getting only one logic 1. If we have a 256 bits or we have 2000 bits, at that time also we have only one logic 1. Remaining bits are zeros. When you have one logic 1, at that time only we have two transitions, that is 0 to 1 and 1 to 0 transition. When you have two transitions, the transitions is decreases. When transitions is decreases, the switching activity will be decreases and power dissipation is also decreases. The transition is decreased to 75%. The switching activity is also decreased to 75% when you use the one hot coding. Then we will see another encoding, that is bus inversion coding. In previous two topics, degree coding and one hot coding, we are used for a address buses. The bus inversion coding we are used for a data bus. Remember that thing. We are using bus inversion coding for a data bus. See here, this is the bus inversion coding. Here we having n elements as an input, n bit as an input to the encoder, and we will get m equal to n plus 1. Here we will getting one extra bit. That is, here is satisfying the redundant condition, m greater than n. Then it is satisfying the redundant condition. This type of encoding also belongs to the redundant encoding. See here the logic in bus inverse coding. In this topic, in this heading, we have inversion. Inversion means we are giving the inverted data to the encoder, and we will get the inverted data by the output as an encoder. That is the logic here. We are giving inverted data. Remember that one. In bus inversion coding, we are giving the inverted data to the encoder. Here we have one logic, that is regarding to the Hamming distance. Remember this one. When data t, the Hamming distance between data t and bus t minus 1 means the Hamming distance between input of the encoder and the output of the encoder is greater than n by 2. Suppose n equal to 4 bits. N by 2 means 2 bits. Let us consider n equal to 4 bits. N by 2 means 2 bits. If the input of the encoder, the Hamming code distance of the input and output is greater than n by 2, at that time the input is directly goes to the decoder. At that time the input data t is directly goes to the decoder. Do you understand what I am telling? The Hamming code distance between the input and output is greater than n by 2. At that time the input data t is directly goes to the decoder. When the distance between the input and output is less than n by 2 or equal to n by 2, at that time the output will goes to the decoder. The output is nothing but bus t will goes to the decoder. In first case, the input is directly goes to the decoder. In second case, the bus t will directly goes to the decoder. Okay, this is the logic. When Hamming code distance between the input and output is greater than n by 2, the input is directly goes to the decoder. When the Hamming code distance between the input and output is less than n by 2 or equal to n by 2, at that time the output will goes to the decoder. This is the logic for bus inversion coding. By using this bus inversion coding, we decrease the transition activity to 10 to 12%. We decreases the transition activity to 10 to 12% by using the bus inversion coding. This is the logic when we are using the bus inversion coding. Then we will see the next one, that is TO coding. Generally, in a grayscale method, we are transmitting the single bit at a time, single bit at a time. In TO coding, we will transmitting the infinite sequence of coding at a time. We will transmitting the infinite sequence of coding. In order to transmit the infinite sequence of coding, we definitely have a redundant bit. That redundant bit is nothing but a increment t. This INCT is the redundant bit we are using in TO coding. With respect to this redundant bit, the operation will be happening in this encoding and decoding section. See here, what is the condition for a redundant bit? The redundant bit equal to 1 or logic high. This bt minus 1 is a logic high. The redundant bit equal to logic high or 1. At that time, the input is equal to bt minus 1 plus s. S is nothing but a still bit. The input here, b of t equal to bt minus 1 plus s. When the increment redundant bit equal to higher logic 1. When the increment redundant bit equal to this one, increment redundant bit equal to logic 0, otherwise means we will send the other sequence of signal, that is nothing but a raw sequences, the other raw sequences. Okay, at that time when logic 1, the increment bit is logic 1, we will send the bt minus 1 plus s bits, bt minus 1 plus s sequences. When the redundant bit, the increment bit is 0, at that time we will send the other signals. The other signals is nothing but we will call it as a raw signals, raw bits. We will send the raw bits to the input we will send the raw bits to the input of the encoder. This is the condition we are using the TO coding. It depends upon the redundant bit, that is increment of t. The redundant bit is called increment of t. When increment of t equal to 1, at that time the input is bt minus 1 plus c. When the increment of bit equal to 0, at that time the input is other sequences, means raw sequences. That is the logic of TO coding. When you use the TO coding, it is decrease almost 35% of transitions. When you decrease 30% of transitions, the similar amount of switching activity will be decreases when you use the TO coding. These are the different codings in order to decrease the switching activities. This is the total concept of bus encoding. In bus encoding, we will see what is bus encoding, and then we will see what are the different types of bus encoding, redundant and non-redundant. In non-redundant we have gray coding. In redundant we have one hot coding, bus inversion coding and TO coding. Okay, this is the topic for bus encoding.